The Call of Duty World League North American Stage 2 Pro League presented by PlayStation 4 is back here in North America. I am so excited to get the matches underway. Throughout the day and throughout this stage, you'll see some new updates to the set, how things are going to wind up working out. We've got obviously the analyst couch here now. Revan joining me to get things started. And you'll see Maven and Mr. X just a little bit later on in the show. But first, Revan, what a monstrous Stage 1 we had. Record-breaking numbers. And that incredible Grand Finals. Definitely a lot of memorable moments.
Really couldn't get any better. We've already had Stage 2 kickoff in Australia, New Zealand, as well as Europe. But, man, that 2-week break killed me. You know, I was sitting alone in my room like throughout every day. I was just staring at my ceiling. I was crying myself to sleep at night. You heard me. I was like, man, I miss me some Call of Duty World League action. And finally, we got to bring it back.
We are definitely back. There's some new faces. There's some new organizations. We've got everything to break down for you. Heck, even a new patch yesterday, which definitely will change up some of the meta going into today's matches. But to start things off first, we have our schedule to take a look at throughout the day, obviously. Some of these new organizations, the first match right away, 100 Thieves, owned by Nadeshot. The big announcement yesterday got a lot of people hyped.
Yeah, huge news coming from Nadeshot there. Congratulations to him. I can't wait to see where he brings this organization, but that is going to be Cloud9 versus Dream Team. Cloud9 finally make their way into the Pro Division after getting so many teams. They finally solidified their spot there, and after that we have Luminosity versus FaZe.
Yeah, definitely a packed day of matches. As you can see, 5 matches now here on Tuesday. We'll mirror that as well as Wednesday, and the match of the week every Thursday after Arcade Esports Weekly. So that's just day 1, obviously, but the first match to kick things off going to be TSM versus 100 Thieves. This is one that I am very excited for. Obviously, this TSM lineup, they add in Ivy. He definitely, I think, performed there at Stage 1. We saw him at times in that Optic Gaming match hold his own, but it definitely was not the way they wanted to finish off Stage 1.
I mean, whenever you're a new player on a team, right, there are some things you need to get acclimated to. Just find your spot in the team. Ivy, who's kind of thrown in. You're like the later start of the Stage 1, so definitely a tough position for him to be in, but I agree with you there. And to be honest, they should have beat Optic Gaming at the Stage 1 finals.
Oh, they most certainly should have. That was a very frustrating loss for them in that one. We even heard Nadeshot on the analyst desk there say, you know, TSM was outperforming Optic in that whole series. Colchan, breakout player of Stage 1. You need to see him kind of replicate what he was able to do there. Back now in Stage 2. I think this is a very winnable match for them up against 100 Thieves, but if you don't know a lot about 100 Thieves, here's a look at the lineup. Obviously, this was the King Pappy squad. Now making it in after beating Team Caliber. There was all the drama with TK, Goonjar not making it into the country. Then obviously them filling in with Mbos. In the end, they get their spot. And Revan, you've been a fan of these guys since day 1.
Oh yeah, I play with them all the time. I mean, I'm a huge fan of what they bring to the table. I think the player we really need to highlight from this team has to be Royalty. Now we finally get to see him a chance to play with more than 2.5 weeks of practice. I can't wait to see what he brings to the squad. But really, you have a very well-rounded team here.
Yeah, and I think this is a guy that will gain a lot of new fans here in Stage 2. I think that's more than safe to say. Obviously, in Advanced Warfare began to make a name for himself. A lot of people have been sharing, actually, Nadeshot, obviously the owner of this team.
I saw that post.
A video on YouTube of crazy movement from Royalty back in Advanced Warfare. It's been funny to see him develop as a player. He could just snapshot on enemies like few other people can.
It really excites me when I see him play. I mean, plus you also have a good supporting cast around. You have Johnny, you have Examples, then you're going to have kind of like that OBJ player and Nelson. I think this is a really good team. I'm a little worried for them going into this first matchup just because they haven't had too much practice.
Definitely.
You know, especially throughout all of Stage 1 against some of these teams. And also they're new. Maybe some of their nerves are going to get to them, but as the stage progresses, I definitely think they're going to get better.
For sure. One thing we are looking for is these teams to step up. Your Ban and Protect has begun. Ooh. Stock out first. Guys, remember, get involved in the conversation on Twitter. Use that hashtag CWLPS4. We want to hear your thoughts on all sorts of things. You can see there, where do you think 100 Thieves will end up at the end of this stage? Revan, I mean, it's been very vocal from some of these guys in this squad that they think some people are doubting them, looking to make a point here in Stage 2.
It's definitely tough to predict where they will finish since we haven't seen them in this stage yet.
Yeah.
But I definitely think they have the talent and they have the hunger to breach that top 8 position. But it's really all on them now. They need to perform. As you see, Rapid Fire gets taken out. There goes the Shiva as well. Overclock gets banned. Like we were saying before, a lot of different patches. We're one big patch, so a lot of different changes come into the game.
Definitely.
And we already see it start to affect the Ban and Protect stock, of course, with the first one. Here's the HCXD. So things pretty standard so far.
I think one thing to remember is we as casters, we printed out the patch notes to have on the desk because so many major changes came in that It's tough to remember. Obviously, we studied up. All the information came out yesterday.
Heatwave still gets banned out after getting nerfed a bit.
Yes, Heatwave did get nerfed. It takes a little bit longer to earn that, as well as Kinetic Armor now. And to finish things out, just waiting for Nelson. He'll go with Kinetic Armor as well. So it doesn't surprise me that those two are still very heavily contested. Obviously, two of the stronger ability specialists. And now into the specialist draft, we have Weeds picking up the Tempest right away. Love that decision from him, because this is one of those. I think right now, after the recent
Tempest
nerf,
I think it's up there as number one.
Yeah.
Maybe you tie it with. I still think the Scythe is very good after being nerfed
again, though.
Yeah, it's funny to see the progression of the Scythe go. It started with like 200 bullets, like that thing lasted forever, and now it's essentially cut in half if you compare it to how it is now. I still think it's very good. I want to see it in action a little bit more before I say for sure Tempest is number one, but I really like the changes, as you were saying, coming to Kinetic Armor as well as Heatwave. They still have a big impact on the game, but you won't see them quite as often.
Oh, most certainly. Now, there's an Annihilator pick from Ivy. You can see, I mean, Johnny does get Scythe. Do we potentially see three lethal specialists? And I love that decision from Pac-Man. He goes with Scythe. They're going to wind up going with the Tempest, Annihilator, and Scythe pickup on the side of TSM.
So Annihilator versus Purifier is going to be the difference here?
Yeah.
I still like the Purifier. It's still really good, especially when you talk about like the Grandma's Hardpoint, very close chord. The Purifier could have a huge effect there, but then you start talking like, Stronghold. Of course, we see the Purifier brought out for one specific hardpoint. Is that going to be kind of like the change in the meta game moving forward? We'll see. What's
kind of funny is this is the map where we saw the Tempest come into such a big play, right? In Stage 1 finals, we saw the likes of Clayster with his monster
Karma.
plays. Karma did it as well. Some of the best highlights we saw at Stage 1 came from that specialist. As we're flying through on Fringe, remember, we're back to best of 5s. Stage 1 finals was best of 7s, but here throughout Stage 2 in the regular season, we will be doing best of 5s, still with our normal setup, Hardpoint, S&D, Uplink, CTF, and then finally Search and Destroy. Revan, Fringe, Hardpoint, it's got 4 major hills, which is going to be the big swing one in your opinion.
I mean, realistically, like the next 3, aside from the first one, you can lock down for a good amount of time, but I really think the action begins on this map when we get to that second hardpoint. So you spend a lot of time on the first one just setting your team in position to succeed, whether you take control of the position over near the third hardpoint, which is the big money one. But whenever I look at Fringe Hardpoint, right, this is a map about control. This is a map about controlling spawns. So really look for the assault rifle players for both these teams, especially the anchor ones.
Yeah.
They're going to play a huge part in this map. I mean, that's where you see it won, is if you control the spawns, you have a good shot at winning the map.
One big thing to watch out for, see how the roles fit in on these teams. You saw Royalty, a big AR Slayer for that squad. Expect him to be running the likes of that M8
especially because he's such a high sensitivity player. Some of those long range engagements that he's going to get into, maybe he'll have a bit of trouble with that higher sensitivity.
Definitely. I'm very much so looking forward to seeing how this one all plays out. Revan, in your opinion, predictions for this first matchup?
I think TSM takes it, but I think 100 Thieves will put up a good fight. I'm thinking 3-1 TSM.
Okay, you're going with TSM right off the bat. I don't know. I think 100 Thieves still has an opportunity to get this one done.
Like I said, I like this squad. I think they have a lot of talent, but it's still early for them. I think they might be a little bit nervous going into this one, but look for them to make a run at the later stages of Stage 2.
All right, guys, very much excited to get things kicked off. Our first matchup, TSM versus 100 Thieves. Maven and Mr. X to bring you all the action.
All right, thank you, boys. We're back. Stage 2, kicking things off, and, we got a doozy. All the announcements yesterday, the big highlight, obviously, we had the schedule. There's been other details coming out around Stage 2, but Nate Shot, his own org.
Yeah, I didn't expect that yesterday. But I saw the logo. I like it.
I'm into it, man. It's going to be great. You saw it.
Who wouldn't want to play for Nate, by the way?
That's true.
I mean, all these players have to be... Oh, I mean, you would never play for Nate. I can't imagine you playing for anyone. But I think they have a pretty solid squad. I think, like Revan said, I think they're going to be pretty underrated. I think they can make some noise in Stage 2. I would not be shocked if they came out here and kind of rode the emotion from yesterday, getting picked up by this organization, being the first team to represent them, result in a win today.
Well, speaking of this team, I want to kick things off with Royalty. We saw him just putting on a show, really.
He's
at the Stage 1 finals for relegation, putting up huge numbers. He talked about the fact he didn't have a lot of practice coming in. He was known for his sub-play in Advanced Warfare. He came out and just put on a clinic with the high sensitivity M8.
And if you just, obviously, I casted the match with Jack at the qualifiers, the relegation match that King Pappy, now 100 Thieves, was able to get into the Pro Division. They're a pretty explosive slaying team. I want to see them get it done, though, against, a pro team, though. I mean, TK, they were good. They definitely struggled during Stage 1. TSM is obviously better. They made it into the playoffs. They gave Optic Gaming a good run. I need to see 100 Thieves do it against the top competition to believe it.
I couldn't agree more, and we haven't really seen much of that yet. But on the flip side, let's talk a little bit about this TSM side. You know, they had a lot of changes, obviously, with Proofy kind of going out around that mid-season mark. You bring in Ivy, Wheat switches into this AR role. You know, what do you expect from this team? Now they've got a little more practice. They almost set up upset Optic. Do you feel like they're going to come out a little bit stronger here in stage 2?
So for me, the pickup of Ivy probably just helps Wheats the most. I mean, you see Wheats getting off to a strong start. He's currently on a 3 streak, 6-2. But when he goes back to the AR, this is a team that, you know, he puts up really nice numbers. And him and Pac-Man, they know how to move around the map together with the assault rifles. They can really do some nice things. But there you see a 3 dead in favor of 100 Thieves. It's going to be Wheats inside the hardpoint. He's able to take out 2. One more on top of L-Box behind him, but he's going to play this so smart. Watches back. Not going to be able to pick up that gunfight. I thought that's probably one of the easiest ones that he had there, and he loses it to Examples.
But the nice thing there, you know, he held off, gave them an extra 10 to 15 points at least in contest time there by staying alive and picking up that 2-piece. So excellent stuff coming in. We've got 20 seconds left, and now the big rotation is going to be coming in. Players going to be getting set up here. Now, Examples, I don't know if you take those shots, because you've got to expect to be pushed through tracks, and 2 players came flying through, and now this is going to look very, very good for the side of TSM to hold this down, and that's one more. That 2-piece being a big one from Ivy, and they're looking to close this down. I've got Ivy highlighted up top here. He's going to be watching the track side. He'll be able to call out players coming from mid. Him and Ivy are going to be kind of this duo tandem up front.
Well, it's interesting. During the ban and protect, we saw TSM ban out stock. And is that something to kind of slow down Royalty a little bit? Obviously, you know, some people new to watching this guy play, but he's one of the fastest players we have. I mean, you look at somebody like Scumper Attach. Imagine throwing an AR in like one of those guys' hands and watching him go to work. Without the stock, it definitely slows him down a bit. Can't be as aggressive.
Well, that's what's going to be interesting here. We obviously had the patch notes yesterday, and I was watching some sub players. I heard Scump and some other guys kind of talking about how it's going to affect them. You have that slower ADS speed now. You're not able to, looking at stage 1, that stock combination with the subs was so terrifying for the AR players. I don't think it's really going to be as tough now for these AR players. We're going to have to see how it really settles through things here in the first couple of weeks of stage 2.
No, you'll definitely see those top SMG players. They'll probably still put up the same amount of numbers, but they'll be even more important because it'll be much harder to do. You see Wheats hiding in a corner there. Example's able to turn on him, and it's going to be the 100 Thieves trying to lock down this track's hard point. For some reason, I still want to call them King Poppy. I'm still not used to 100 Thieves. I was like, it's like, that is not King Poppy anymore.
We'll get the hang of it as time goes on. The new change coming in. You got a couple down here for each side. Right now, I mean, I guess I'd be kind of happy with the deficit I did.
You are.
Considering the slaying, I mean, look at the players right now on the side of 100 Thieves. You only have 1 player positive, 1 double negative, a couple just trying to get around that 50-50 mark. But as it stands, I mean, TSM only being up 30, you think maybe they'd be able to take advantage of this a little bit more?
No, this is one that 100 Thieves has to be pretty happy with, halfway through this game. You see Royalty, he's going to bust out the Tempest. He's going to be able to get 1 with it. He did some amazing things the Stage 1 finals with the Tempest. And now let's just talk about that for a second. And, Revan brought it up. Tempest versus Scythe now. I mean, the Scythe gets a little bit of a nerf the other day. We see the Sparrow get a buff, kind of. Yeah. We haven't seen, obviously, in competitive in a very long time.
Cole-Chan, I think once maybe pulled it out or something.
Play with it maybe once or twice early in the game. But I think the Tempest may be the next, go-to weapon. At the Stage 1 finals, we saw some of the biggest plays made with the Tempest.
No, we really did. And that was kind of the discussion when they started to buff it a little bit, whether it would take the role of the Annihilator. And now it seems like it's even challenging the Scythe, as we've seen more and more changes coming through for these guys.
The Scythe has gone from like 200 bullets to like 100.
Like you were saying, yeah.
But it's going to be hardpoint controlled by 100 Thieves. It's going to be TSM able to break it, though. And you see right there, Cole-Chan actually has streaks, so we'll see how those impact the game. You're going to see 3 kills coming in for 100 Thieves. It's going to be Ivy with the Annihilator, only able to get 1, so it's going to be Royalty & Co. able to break into the hill. Nelson on it just needs to play pretty passive here, doesn't want to jump out and challenge. And he has that Purifier Maven, so with this game pretty close, we get over towards Grandma, and it's still relatively close. I would not be surprised to see him bust out that Purifier and really make a big play.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. And that's the big thing. TSM hasn't really been able to get any kind of separation.
TSM should have blown this game open, I feel like.
It seemed that way. And I know the slaying wasn't that lopsided, but lopsided enough that I thought they could have gotten a pretty big early lead. Not able to do so. You see Johnny here tagged up mid-map, and he's going to catch a flashbang there. Not going to be able to use the Scythe in any big way. He's going to be saving that probably for later rotations, as we've still got a long ways to go. I mean, there's 3 minutes left on the clock, and it's so close that this is one that, I mean, if the game plays like this, I mean, we could be going to time limit.
With that, which is something we really don't see. You see Royalty's actually going to push in. He's going to actually be able to pick up that kill on Cold Chance. So you see it come in the feed. Wheat's trying to work over here by Bricks with Ivy. He's going to get taken out. Ivy, he's in like a no-win situation, right? He has an SMG here. Even if he picks up one, can't really push in alone. He's going to have one teammate with him. It's going to be Cold Chan with a VMP. He's going to slide out, try and bait. Cold Chan's able to get one, but not able to get through that door. If you're TSM, you got to get an AR over there and start picking up some kills. And Wheats gets one, doesn't get another, and it looks like TSM going to opt to rotate. It's going to be 100 Thieves taking the lead.
Yeah, that's a big win for them on that second hard point here in the second side of rotations. And now this fight for Grandma's again, going to be huge. TSM won it last time, got there early, able to take a little bit of advantage. There's one player inside, and that's Examples. He was able to pick up one big one. His teammates grabbed one in the back, and he's just doing a good job to that point, staying alive before Cold Chan was able to bust in the two-piece for Cold Chan, shutting down that Purifier we talked about earlier as well. Going to be gigantic, tries to pick up one of the steps as well, but not going to come to fruition. So let's watch the break for the back here. It's going to be Ivy, going to be challenging Johnny in just a second here. If he can take him out, that is going to give them spawn control. I thought we were going to get a team kill there from the Lightning, but able to stay alive is Ivy.
It's going to be 100 Thieves locking down Grandma. See 3 kills go in the feed in their favor. Ivy's going to try and come through the back. He's going to be able to get one, but has no teammate support anywhere near them on the map. You see Johnny's going to rotate, pick up this back auto area. And 100 Thieves is a team, Maven, that they have a lot of talent, right? You watch these guys play, you can clearly tell, like, skill is not a question with these guys. I feel like this is a team that's going to get much better as Stage 2 goes on.
Dude, because look at the score. They're up 80, and Royalty's the only player positive. Like, the fact they're getting this done, very rarely, especially in Uplink a little bit more, but very rarely in Hardpoint. Think back to AW. Like, if you got outslayed, you almost never won. It was something like 95% of the time you won if you won that slaying battle. Right now, they're getting it done without doing it. Popping off his Royalty. You see that high sense, able to tag a few, and he might, can he get a race here? Not staying on. I got to stick with him,
You jinxed it, but yeah, you have to stick on with this guy. He's going to be one that's going to make highlight plays throughout all of Stage 2. This 100 Thieves team, though, like I was saying, I feel like they're one that once they get used to, I don't want to say like the pro style of game, right? These guys are, very skilled. They've scrimmed against teams like TSM and, the Optic Gaming before and whatnot. But I feel like once they get used to the speed of the pro game and, some different rotations and whatnot, I feel like this is a team that's going to get so much better as Stage 2 goes on.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. They started out slow in this one, but they've caught up in a big way. That one I thought going to chain, but his teammate there able to pick it up. But you're still trailing by 85 points right now if you're TSM, as we're going to move back to mid-map. And look, one spawn behind. Looks like a split spawn kind of coming in right now for the side of 100 Thieves. We'll see if this can end up paying off. We'll check just the final couple seconds here. Trash time coming in really for nobody, as it was contested at the end there. But now we're going to kick it into our third side of rotations. For you, what does 100 Thieves have to do here to hold on and seal this victory here in Game 1?
Well, I was going to say, Royalty has some streaks. He's going to use the Lightning to get 2. The Cerberus taken out right away. But I wonder, does Cold Chan actually still have any streaks left? Can we check that real quick? So he actually has nothing. He used that Lightning in Hailstorm. So that is actually huge for 100 Thieves. It looks like Cold Chan's going to pull out some smokes as well and just try and get in towards that hardpoint in the middle here through the bricks area. But I really think if you're TSM, your ARs need to pick up some kills. I think in the second half of the game, it's really been Royalty and Examples, the ones who have, I don't want to say won them the game, but obviously putting them in a great position to win them the game, because in the AR department, they've really stepped it up in the second half. You see Johnny just make a huge play there, just looking like that's such a difficult play, made it look so casual diving into bricks with the RK5, able to pick up that final kill.
And they dominated them here in this central hardpoint. I mean, they basically locked out all the time, except outside this last 15. But let's look at the next rotation. You've got Royalty watching the back. Inside will be Examples. Let's go to Royalty's point of view, as we saw one get picked up. The camo comes in. The camo does sneak through, but he got tagged up. Royalty gets both with the L car, and they're looking to close things out here. 15 more points needed. Let's hop between the POVs right now. I mean, it's been locked down for TSM. I wanted to watch the break from 100 Thieves, but right now, so far, TSM doing a pretty good job holding on. Can they seal the deal here, though? Can 100 Thieves get the retake?
Yeah, 100 Thieves just needs to take their time and break this as a team, and you see it doesn't matter. It's going to be Johnny picking out one with the AR. It's going to be, I believe that was Examples pushing in, picking up a big two-piece with the SMG, and it's going to be Johnny posted up on car here in auto. He has the scythe out, Maven. This should be it. He's going to get one, not able to pick up a second one, but nobody coming in to contest for TSM.
That is it.
In their first match ever, their first map ever, 100 Thieves takes out TSM. 250, 153.
That's
actually a blowout kind of. Like, it doesn't really look like that in the score, but like if you look at the first half compared to the second half, 100 Thieves blew them away in the second half.
Well, it was about a 30-point advantage, I think, for TSM throughout most of it. We were kind of shocked they hadn't pulled away a little bit earlier. So excellent job to the side of 100 Thieves. You came back. The slang picked up a little bit. Royalty went on that big spree that was huge for them. You talked about Nelson kind of turning it on a little bit as well. All the guys getting involved. Good team effort from the side of 100 Thieves, and they brought it back.
Yeah. Just some great team play by them. I really thought it was the two ARs in the second half that stepped up for me when it was Royalty and Examples really playing well in the second half. That's what turned the tide of the game.
Could not agree more, but we have our analysis, guys, as well. I want to hear what Jack and Revan have to think. Take it away, boys.
Mr. X really summed it up perfectly, right? He said that, and then it went to another one-sided game. At first, it was all TSM. Very, very dominant. You were mentioning how all four players are positive. And then there's a man called Royalty who began to get some kills on the map. He was leading his team in objective time as well. This is what we've always kind of preached since I even first saw him back when Matt and I casted TK versus King Pappy back at Stage 1 Finals.
Back when he had 2.5 weeks of practice and then he drops, what was it, like 52 on the first map?
This guy is the real deal. And we mentioned it starts off with TSM. And in this one, we wanted to take a look at the second Hardpoint because it comes into it. TSM were looking solid. They rotate on over. They get some kills in their favor. Revan, walk me through how this wound up working out.
So essentially they're 3 down right now, right off the bat. As soon as that second Hardpoint pops up, TSM, they get 3 quick kills. So now it's going to be 100 Thieves. They're setting up the break. You see where they're all spawning in. They get attacked from multiple angles here. They get the kill near auto. 3 go down for TSM. But then as they're moving in the break, he gets 2 very clutch kills here. Stays alive inside the Hardpoint. And then because where his teammates are spawning, you see near that barn side of the map, he knows he's about to get pinched. Very good heads-up play for Leech, even though he doesn't close out the kill. 3 go down for TSM. Examples kills himself with his own grenade. And then TSM, they're able to break right back into it and establish control once again. So one of the things I brought up was kind of, how are the nerves going to affect 100 Thieves? You saw it come into play through that first set of rotations on the Hardpoint. They seemed like a little rusty, but as Mr. X was saying,